Hello, great people. Welcome back to Global Happenings. Today, we're so excited to have you again. The EU report has clearly showcased and shown to the world the corrupt nature of our country, especially during the period of the presidential and also other elections. Now, over time, if you check our feed, you're going to see a lot of things that particular report reveal. First of all, it was talking about the fraud that took place and then the issue of fake news. This time around, it's pointing accusing fingers at the Supreme Court and some of the things that they did during the period of election, which is outrightly against the electoral law. Now, according to the news, the European Union Election Observation Mission has strongly criticized the Supreme Court, maintaining that it has tarnished its public perception or tarnish its public perception by maintaining former Senate President Ahmed Lawan to the upper legislative chamber despite his non-participation in the All Progressive Congress APC primaries. It has been reported that the EU highlighted the Supreme Court's decision as a significant factor contributing to the negative perception surrounding the court. The organization made these comments in its recently released final report titled Election Observation Mission Nigerian 2023. The report stated that the Nigerian Supreme Court continued to maintain a negative perception after reinstating the Senator Ahmed Lawan, who never participated in primaries for the Senate. The High Court and Appeal Court judgment were against this. Recall that during the Senate valedictory session, Rochas Okorocha took a jab at Lawan Ahmed regarding the circumstances surrounding his return to the Senate without having duly participated in the APC senatorial primaries. Mr. Okorocha humously remarked, "I did not contest for the Senate this period. I only contested for the office of the presidency. You are a very smart politician. How you came back to the Senate is another chapter in our political history that we need to discuss." He further quipped, "I was there in the field with you running for president. I never knew how you were able to meander, leaving some of us. Next time, you must teach me how to do that." It should be recalled that initially Mr. Lawan had sought the presidential ticket of the ruling APC, but after being defeated by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he attempted to secure the senatorial ticket in his district. The Supreme Court's ruling that brought in Lawal emerged from a political battle between Mr. Lawan and the political ally Bashir Machina, who refused to relinquish the APC ticket for the Yobe North Senatorial District. However, Mr. Machina, the rightful winner of the Yobe North Senatorial ticket, stood his ground, refusing to surrender it under any circumstances to remove Mr. Machina and support Mr. Lawan. The APC urged the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to adopt the former Senate President as the senatorial candidate for Yobe North in the 2023 election. Eventually, on February 6, 2023, the controversial ruling by the Supreme Court went in favor of Mr. Lawan. Wow, I mean, this is a way of telling the entirety of the country, not just Nigeria alone, but the entirety of the world, the level of corruption that is in the judiciary. And this is a big blow on the judiciary. And I feel that at one point, they need to call up some of these cases and take out time to, would I use the word disgrace? No, but take out time to pencil out some of the worst presidencies that were left behind by certain lawyers who claim, or certain judges who claim to be, in sync with the principle of judiciary. It was amazing. Ordinarily, if you don't partake in primaries, there's no way that your name can suffice as the candidate of any party during any election. But shockingly, the case of Lawan was amazing. At first, Nigerians were like, for the first time, a way a new senator is going to come up. Lawan, there's no way he's going to come in. Why? Because he was part of the presidential campaign, presidential election pursuit. He was a ticket of the APC as the form, and he was pursuing it. All of a sudden, after his failure during the presidential election, he resurfaced and was asking to go again as a senator, as if it is a mandate to always represent you be not. Somehow along the line, we couldn't explain it. Machina had won both in High Court and also in Appeal Court. But by the time it went to Supreme Court, they daburu everything the way they like. They put water, put salt, put everything in their own precedent. And at the end of the day, this young man by name Ahmed Law, and for that reason, it is his exclusive right to be there. All of a sudden, he resurfaced, and today he's in the Senate. This is one of the situations that people who sat in that particular court during that period should be disciplined in future. Time may not permit such to happen to them, but with this kind of shameful report about the activities of our Supreme Court or the judiciary during the election, I feel that those who are in the hymns of our faith in the judiciary should keep a reasonable time where such judges should be outrightly disciplined. Even if it means for you to kick them out of bench, you do it so that it will serve as a warning to all and sundry who are having intention to meddle into that kind of negative move that will paint the judiciary in a bad light. It was disheartening when that news came up, but unfortunately, in Nigeria, you can't contest things like that. All of a sudden, we watch as Mechina, who was the rightful candidate, was kicked out, and this guy who behaved as if he's the owner of judiciary came in. I am so grateful that the European report had been able to paint out all those negative moves so that at the end of the day, when we sit back and begin to look at our judiciary, we will say, you are not the final bus stop of any common man. Because if they were, this kind of scenario that happened would never be there in the history of judiciary. And it goes an extra mile to bring down the value of our presidents as a country. There's no way in the International Justice Commission where they will pick up a particular president from Nigeria and say, this one was between a case between this person and this person. Instead, in future, by the time things have been sanitized, some of these lawyers will be called up and painted in a very bad light because of events like this. I like to leave it there. But what's your position on what EU report has been able to unveil before Nigerians? Let's meet in our conversation. Thank you very much.